Hey, what's up? I'm Guy.
I'm John.
It's our YouTube channel. Subscribe to it and give this video a like.
Podcast below in the description. Check it out. Do it now.
Is the world opening up for the Las Vegas Raiders in the AFC West, John? As of Thursday afternoon, at least maybe four, at least three of the Chiefs' offensive line, when it's whole, is gone. Left tackle Eric Fisher gone. Right tackle Mitchell Schwartz gone. The center Eric Ryder gone. Kelechi Osemele, who they signed middle of the year, free agent.
Played for him.
They are desperately trying to get under the cap. And you got a new coach in the Chargers, the Broncos. Whatever.
They got issues.
You already split with the Chiefs last year. Is 2021 opening up for the Raiders in a way that maybe we didn't think it would?
Well, I do think in the Super Bowl, now granted Tampa's defensive line, their worst defensive lineman is better than the Raiders' best defensive lineman. But they did show when you have a good defensive line against what the Chiefs have now on their roster, destroyed them. Right? So you release two of those guys. I mean, Eric Fisher has been the starter since Andy got there. It was his first ever draft pick. And Mitchell Schwartz showed up like a year or two later, and there was a stretch before he got injured, right? He had never missed a game. He had was the guy behind Joe Thomas had set that record or approached the record for, non-quarterback, and Mitchell had the longest, never missed a snap.
Mm-hmm.
He was good. I mean, he's widely viewed as just arguably the best. Lane Johnson's probably the most talented right tackle. Mitchell was just the most consistent because he never missed games. And that's just the Chiefs are going to be really good. They have an elite coach and they have an elite quarterback. But are they 13, 14, 15 win team like they have been, or are they more 10, 11, right? If they start a rookie who opted out, they got to draft a left tackle. This to me even hammers home. I think it is a 100% lock. I will be shell shocked if we don't see. Maybe the rumors really start Monday, Tuesday, but when it becomes official, a Schefter rap sheet tweet, the Raiders have first big splash. The Las Vegas Raiders have signed Yannick Ngakoue, have signed Matt Judon to $60 million guaranteed. How do they not spend big money on an outside pass rusher? I just don't see how. I actually would be more inclined now that it's okay, it's on,
Yep. It's what
like you said,
needed.
we already play well against them. In fairness to Gruden, he's played the Raiders, relatively okay. Or excuse me, the Chiefs.
Yeah.
And the Broncos and the Chargers the last couple of years have been true coin flip games. All those games, their division, the Raiders suck against the Jets and the Jags. When you watch them play a divisional game, even if they lose for the most part, they're always in the game. So I think I'm support them buying a pass rusher. The guy you buy better just in 2 years not be getting cut or traded.
Well, we've talked about Herbert with the Chargers. Obviously, Mahomes has been around, but we've seen
the Broncos do have a lot of dudes on offense.
They do. Yeah. I mean, but do you feel good about them being better this year than they were last year?
No, but I think if I was a Broncos fan, I'd say, well, we always play the Raiders tut, even when we were good or bad. They do, right?
It's true. Yeah, I'm just saying you cannot finish below the Broncos.
No.
And at this point, we love Herbert. They've got good talent, but
their coach is a major unknown.
So it's not even about this. I think this conversation is not even about winning the AFC West. It's just about finding more wins. Now, to counter, you'd argue, well, they beat the Chiefs last year. That was one of their 8 wins, was a win over the Chiefs. And they beat the Broncos twice. Those were 2 of their 8 wins. And they split with the Chargers. So what is that, 4-2 in the league?
Yeah.
So that's pretty good. You would take that any year. You would take that right now if I told you the Raiders are going to be 4-2.
3-3, right?
Lost to the Chargers, lost to the Chiefs, swept the Broncos.
Oh, you're right, 4-2.
If I told you right now the Raiders are 4-2 in the division, you would take that, wouldn't you?
Without question. I think any team would always take 4-2 in their division, beside Patriots for 20 years. But I do think the Raiders' big question mark on this team is defense. Coming up in the draft, talking to Mel, he thinks they've got to go defense, which I do believe. I think, to me, this whole offseason has to be about defense. Because if they could get their defense good, their offense could be 11 or 12 win team offense. But their defense is probably more like a 3 or 4 win team defense, right? So can they get that defense just up to like a 500, and then boom, they're in double-digit wins? That's the key. But as we saw, and I've been thinking a lot about this, John Gruden hasn't come, even though he's had a couple moments middle of the season, they have not come remotely close, not remotely close to making the playoffs. Like this, there was a 3-game gap this year. 3 games. That's a lot. I mean, that's some months there are only 4 games in a month. Like that's a large percentage of games. He has to double down on what he needs, not because it feels like, oh, is he going to splurge for Nelson Aguilar? It's going to be hard to do something. You know, it's just like, do defense. Do the defense. And I don't know. You know, does he get shell-shocked over the missing on some of the guys he just previously did? We'll see. We're going to find out. But I expect them to buy a pass rusher, as they should. But that guy better not be like in a year like, God, he's the most overpaid guy in the league,
Well,
right?
Yeah, if you miss on your big players, you're just not good. You're not going to be. If you miss on your picks and you miss on your free agents, how are you? You're just not going to be good.
That's what's happened to them, wouldn't you say? Because if they would have hit on 50% of the guys they missed on, they still might not have made the playoffs last year, but they win 10 games and you feel much better about them, right? That's like those guys being duds and just disappearing and just not playing and being terrible is the difference of being an 8-win team and a 10-win team.
Historically, if you win 10 games and miss the playoffs, I have a hard time blaming you. Now,
I
we'll see
agree.
moving forward in the 17-game schedule what that looks like. But
I think the AFC is really good, though. Right? It's really deep. The Browns being good now.
If I said right now, John, the Raiders go 10-7, you can take it or you can roll the dice. What would you do?
Like it's 10-7, the old 9-7, so you're probably missing the playoffs most years. I don't know. I think the Raiders would have to take that. 3 games over 500. I mean, they finished 500 this year. They want to throw a party.
But you wouldn't feel good that guarantees you a playoff spot.
No, but I do think 10. If you go 10-7, 3 games over 500, that's pretty big strides from going 8. You know, an 8-8, which is really like could have easily been a 7-9, right? They went for 2 to win the last game of the season. Like they were kind of holding on for dear life coming down the home stretch last year, right?
Yeah, they beat the Broncos at the end. Before that, they had lost 5 of 6.
They were in shambles.
And the one that they won was the Jets game.
What did that take? Right?
Yeah,
a Hail Mary,
it's a buzzer beater.
Yeah. And the defensive coordinator,
3/4 court buzzer beater, and the defensive coordinator got fired. Is that what you're going to say?
Yeah. That was an incredible moment last year. Probably a top 5 NFL moment that didn't actually mean anything. It was that, right?
Especially because part of it was like, oh my, there's Ruggs.
Yeah. But also, like, the Raiders at that time were trending in the right direction. And they were going to lose to the Jets, and the Jets were going undefeated. Actually, it was also a little sign that the Jets were probably a little better. They were starting to play a little better than I think they had played earlier in the season.
Yeah.
Racked up a couple wins because Sam Darnold would be like, I beat the Rams a couple weeks later.
I mean, you're right. They had lost 2, but the game before that, 2 games before that was losing to the Chiefs by 4. All right. But then they got blown out by the Falcons. You're like, what?
I think we gave them a little bit of a, like, okay, you get that
Sure,
your one a year.
They were 6-5 at that point.
Wasn't the Falcons game like 45-6?
43.
Oh, my God. That was a curb stomping, I remember. Like, are they really going out like this? Oh, you're right, because it was right after the Chiefs game. The Raiders were feeling themselves. Everyone's blowing Derek. They played the Atlanta Falcons, and it was a blood. I think remember Dubois tweeted it's one of the worst games by a starting quarterback ever. It's like 5 turnovers, multiple fumbles, a pick 6.
That's right. Try to scrub that game from my memory.
Yeah, me too.
Maybe the stars maybe some things are aligning, but they still got to do their thing. They got to make it happen.
And they got a lot.